Gormagat Gurlach Mullum on Lassu Gadi and Rune. I move the government amendment. The amendment outlines our determination to drive down child poverty rates and to record the progress that has been made to date on this critical issue. Tackling child poverty and homelessness is not merely a matter of policy. I think we're all agreed on that. It is a national imperative that is rooted in our values as a republic. The cost of inaction is measured not in economic terms, but much more importantly in the futures of those children and in the well-being of the families across Ireland. Any child who grows up in poverty faces barriers that limit their potential, from poor educational outcomes, diminished health, to reduced opportunities for participation in school or in community life. These challenges, when unaddressed, will perpetuate cycles of disadvantage that stretch across generations. I want at this point to give the apologies for the Minister for Housing. He will be with us, but he's currently opening 290 new homes for Tua Housing in City West. But he will join the debate to deal with the issues that Deputy Wall has dealt with, and I've already given my apologies to Deputy Wall for the previous commitment. The Government of Gaelic is determined that we will break the cycle and we will strive to create a society that gives all children the opportunity to succeed and to maximise their potential. It is this commitment to tackle child poverty that the Taoiseach outlined at the Child Poverty and Wellbeing Summit, which was held on the 11th of September. Taoiseach has made it very clear that tackling child poverty and homelessness are key priorities for this government. Speaking at that summit, Dr. Mike Ryan of the World Health Organization said that children are our most precious resource and that we cannot leave children behind. And as articulated in our programme for government, child poverty is not inevitable. Dr. Ryan also told us that day that there are no easy solutions to child poverty, which is complex and multidimensional, and that the only way to ensure our children feel that they belong and that they can thrive is through shared commitment, through targeted and sustained action over sustained and continual process. He also mentioned that there can never be an end to this effort. We therefore as a society must continually strive to tackle child poverty, and while difficult, it's an immensely important challenge that we must and we will achieve. The government is absolutely committed to breaking the very vicious cycle of child poverty in a sustained and continuing process. Reducing child poverty and ensuring every child has its best start in life will be a core focus of Budget 2026 and throughout the lifetime of this government. Our determination to have a decisive impact on child poverty is reflected in our programme for government commitments and in our actions since taking office. The government has established the Child Poverty and Wellbeing Programme Office in the Department of Taoiseach in 2023, which ensures cross-departmental coordination to address the complex issues of child poverty. In addition, on the 10th September, we have published our commitment to a new ambitious child poverty target. This target is 3% or less, consistent poverty, which will be achieved by the end of 2030. The goal is ambitious, which reflects a reduction of 5.5% from the current child consistent poverty rate of 8.5%, and will require sustained investment across the whole of government as part of a continual process. In addition to that child poverty target, the Child Poverty and Wellbeing Programme Office is developing a dashboard of indicators which will allow for the measurement of child poverty and wellbeing in a holistic manner across all of government. In the years ahead, this new target will guide those cross-government policies and will ensure that the investment is targeted at those who need it most, so that we can lift as many people, as many children as possible out of poverty. A whole-of-government approach means that along with the targeted income measures, we will focus on concrete and measurable actions in relation to areas such as housing, employment, childcare, health and education. These cross-government actions will be outlined in the successor to the National Poverty Strategy, the Roadmap for Social Inclusion 2026 to 2030, which is currently being developed by my department, which will be launched in the first half of 2026 and will, for the first time, have a specific focus on child poverty. Our commitment to reducing child poverty is reflected in investment in concrete support to families and children that are most in need. The last two budgets, in 2024 and for 2025, contained the largest social welfare packages in the history of the state, Combined, they invested €4.9 billion in communities across the country. They included increases in core social welfare rates, including child benefit, but specifically the largest ever increase in the child support payment and increases in the working family payment, which are targeted measures that reach families with children most in need, as well as increasing the numbers of those who are eligible for fuel allowance. The government has also invested heavily on non-income services for families and children, significantly reduced childcare fees through the National Childcare Scheme. Yes, we have expanded Hot Meals, Deputy Kenny, to all primary schools, and there are difficulties with one company and its linked companies, but there are others who are standing in. Officials in my department are working to fix that at the moment. A number of PQs tomorrow on it, we'll go through that in detail. That is a €320 million investment on the part of the government addressing child food poverty in particular. So those glitches cannot be allowed to hide a very, very important programme. The delivery this summer of a holiday meals pilot project, which provided needs to 68,000 children in 914 schools over the summer holidays, and Deputy, again, the rollout of free school books to all children in primary school. And in fairness, Deputy O'Reilly has championed the need for us to look at that scheme with the view to laptops and iPads, and that's something that I am anxious to do. The increases in child poverty rates, as reported in March 2025 by the Central Statistics Office in its survey on income and living conditions for 2024, are very disappointing. Until the release of this data, child consistent poverty had been on a downward trend, peaking in 2013 at 12.7%, falling to its lowest level in 2023 at 4.8%. That trend was reversed, and that figure increased to 8.5% in the CSO survey on income and living conditions 2024. It's important to remember that the data collected under the SILC has a time lag. This latest data is based on 2023 income and therefore does not reflect the full response to child poverty in recent years, notably the measures I have just referred to. In Budget 2025, the weekly personal rates increases of social welfare payments were expanded, but specifically we invested €167 million to children, looking at the largest ever increase in the child support payment of €8 per week for children aged 12 years and over. And in relation to Budget 26, we have made clear the importance of directing support to families with the children who need it most. We know from research previously undertaken, referred to by Deputy Sherlock, that the most effective means of achieving this objective are through established targeted measures. And those measures include the child support and working family payment, which is why they will be a priority in the forthcoming budget. The payments provide targeted assistance directly linked to household income, supporting low-income families with children, are paid to qualified households in addition to universal child benefit. As has been discussed, we have a programme for government commitment to explore a targeted child benefit payment and to examine the interaction this will have with existing targeted supports. We are continuing to examine this and other approaches to ensure that resources are directed at families with children who are most in need of support. There being a wide range of possible approaches, and we want to ensure that all are given full consideration and, most importantly, have the maximum impact in reducing child poverty. It is vital that any new approach that is introduced does not have unintended consequences that would leave those families and those children that we are trying to help worse off in the immediate term. We know from discussions with the RSI that some proposals for a second-tier child benefit system will not see all affected families better off, and indeed some families could see a reduction in the support they receive under some of those proposed models. And whilst that exploratory work is underway to ensure that we do not end up in that situation, and therefore a second-tier payment will not be announced as part of Budget 2026. However, specific targeted supports will be in place through the programmes I've already mentioned. The government fully recognises that supporting families with children on low income with housing costs, as well as supporting families in homelessness to secure sustainable housing, is key to reducing child poverty. Preventing and reducing homelessness among families is a cornerstone of tackling child poverty, and Minister Brown will deal with that when he speaks on the debate. In relation to energy costs, the Government fully recognises the pressures that these costs have on families with children on low income. As a result, we have approved an extension of the 9% VAT rate currently applied to gas and electricity to October 25 at an estimated cost of £85 million, and the Cross-Government Energy Affordability Task Force has been asked to identify further measures. These are priority issues for this Government. Minister Brown and Minister Sullivan will deal with more later. They will be tackled over the lifetime of this Government. We are determined that we will reduce child poverty, that we will make lasting and sustainable progress to support children across our country.